And live is happening. Welcome to For the Plot. My friends, my peoples, everybody, welcome. A few updates going on right here visually. All three of us have a little different hair going on. My bangs are bugging the patoot out of me, so headband it is. CocoKali, Raquel, you have new visual appearances in your hair. What's happening? What's been the inspiration? And then we will move on.
You know what? I was just feeling the purple today. So, feeling a little playful, a little passionate about life, and excited about everything that's to come. And I just felt like expressing that with some color. I have a wide range of purple hair in my collection, different styles. So, I reached my hand in the bin, and this is the look that I pulled out. So,
That's beautiful.
Incredible.
I
A
love it.
collection of purple vibe expressions. So amazing. Like I think we're done.
Yeah, I think people say our hair is our strength, right? So I
mhm.
decided to go natural and people forget what my hair is like, and I like to shock people, like, oh, look at you, so different. Yeah, so I love it. Yes.
Multiple minutes of that backstage just going, wow, really fun. And that kind of expression can really shift an energy. Even throwing a headband up and like helps me get focused. So interesting, interesting. I felt the energy shift just when we were talking about expression.
It's so funny, Wendy, like it's our relationship with our hair is karma, right? It that holds the memory for so many years of what has been going on in our lives. It's maintaining that energy for us. And so the relationship with it is so internal. And yet it's this external thing that you could be like in a vibe in a moment with you and your hair. And then someone else is like, you know, and you're just like,
Mhm.
whoa. And I often in my life have had that experience where people will just put their hands in my hair and I will be like, what the heck, how, who, cow is going on? Space. I need space.
Invasive much? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is so true what you're talking about. And a couple of years, 3, 4 years ago, one of the professors at the college, Kiana Davis, so she's a Black poet, and she wrote the roots of our roots, the roots that speak, and she invited me to write one chapter, one page. So it's people telling the story behind your hair. And I exited and I thought about it for such a long time about accepting it, because my relationship with my hair since I was a little child is so difficult, and with so many phases. And nowadays it's so good to read about it, but it's so interesting how what the hair represents, and the journey that I've had with my hair. It's absolutely incredible, and it's incredible reading the stories and the kids and older people in the book talking about their hair. So it's amazing. I think hair speaks lots. It's very important.
Yes. Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
It's so subtle too, right? Like I'll speak for myself. I oftentimes will just take it for granted, but like yeah, there it is. Move it out the way. Like it's a pain, right? Like I'm not going to my first sort of instance was I have cowlicks all over my head like since birth. So my main coping mechanism has been cut it off, don't argue with it. Don't argue
Right.
with it. Like I'm
Yeah.
not engaging in a fight. I cannot win. And like let her be. Let her
Yeah.
be. She's fine.
Yeah.
Coordinate as you need, but like don't argue has been my philosophy. I'm curious about like just sort of like how your visual expression or the expression of your external has informed like different parts of your journey. Like it can be hair specific. It can also be just like, I remember here's an example. There was a point where I was married and coming out at the same time. It was very painful. And part of my expression was radical change, and it involved my hair. So it was the first and only time that I ever bleached the mother living love out of it and went platinum and chopped it completely off. It was a drastic measure. I was moving across the country. I was coming out. I was getting divorced. That means platinum hair, remove it as short as possible. And it was something that I didn't really think about, but just sort of went with. Have you ever had an experience of, oh, this is changing. I'm changing my external experience in order to begin a new chapter and definitely end the old one?
Yes, yes. When I came to Washington, yeah. So my hair, I moved to a very little city called Klamath Falls in Oregon, and finding a hairdresser was a nightmare. I had once a hairdresser looking at me, and she started crying and apologizing because she didn't know how to deal with my hair. So it was a journey. So, but I don't know, when I came to Washington, I really found my people. I found the stylists, and I decided to start braiding and doing different things. And I told everybody, like, I came out of the closet and I am feeling myself. So when I moved to Washington, I decided to move radically. So it's been many years, like 5 years now, that I haven't had my hair out like this, and I'm letting out just to treat a little bit. But for me, the hair, it makes a big difference. I think how you feel, how people see you, and it's something incredible. I think the hair is one of the main things that you said sometimes we take for granted, but it is very important. In my case, my hair is very important.
Yeah. Gosh, my relationship with my hair as a child was always being straightened, sitting in the kitchen with a hot iron and having my hair straightened. And it would take like hours because I had so much hair. And then eventually that graduated to, like, once I was a teenager, I was old enough for them to then apply the chemical straighteners. And I hated the hot comb. I hated the chemical straighteners. And so in my 20s, as soon as I was able, I went natural. And I went natural before it was popular as an African American to have natural hair. And what I discovered is that I remember I used to watch these commercials, the finesse commercials, and the girls had these long curly hair, you know. And what I discovered, my sister was going through cosmetology school. So I took advantage of that as her model. And, you know, what they have to bring a model that needs to you need to cut their hair like at least 4 inches or something to show the difference for the final exam. And so I was like, take it all, take it off. And from there, I was able to cut out all the unnatural and then allow my natural to come through. And what I discovered was that I had the hair I always wanted. I always wanted curly hair. And it's such a spiritual lesson that I have learned again and again and again, because we're always desiring something external that already actually, that seed is alive in us because it already exists for us. And that was true for me with my hair.
Amazing.
And so I like to play with other hair so that I don't have to treat my hair, because I love my hair. So people think, oh, why are you hiding your natural hair, like putting on this hair unit, or why are you playing with the purple hair or whatever? It's because I can have this fun, beautiful experience with the purple hair, but I don't have to try to change my hair, which I love. So it's an ongoing love story, I think, with my hair.
Well, and it sounds like an opportunity to play, which like trying stuff on, does it get any more like, yes, try it on, put it on? Like if it's wig, if it's hair unit, if it's a hat, if it's a scarf, like I love, even with short hair, I love getting like a big thick conditioner on it and wrapping it in a towel. Like,
Yeah.
and letting it like set in. I feel like that's just a form of self-care. I mean, I can't imagine, CocoKali. I think about you with sitting and like having your hair done for hours, I imagine, with a hot comb.
Yes.
Hours with the chemical straight. I've had my moment with a spiral perm, but that's like
But it's normal, right? These things, these treatments that we do to ourselves, right? Like getting a perm,
Mhm.
it's so normalized that I think it helps distance us from our own self-identification, awareness of our own authenticity. It's like it's fun to explore these things, but transforming our natural identity using chemicals or these extreme measures, even plastic surgery, right? These ways that we are changing our core identity because we think some other version of ourselves must be better. And I
Mm.
think it's just such I'm not standing in the camp of never do it. But I'm definitely in the camp of don't always do it. Like, what if you're beautiful and what if you're beautiful and you just need to give yourself a chance to see it?
Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
are we always trying to cover ourselves up and hide who we are and take some external vision of what we saw in a magazine or in cinema or on the TV as the standard for beauty? Why can't I be the standard for beauty?
Yeah, and I like how the versatility that we have and what we can do. I've had hot combs for a long time, and then the perms and the relaxers, and for me has always been. We talked last week, like, who am I, right? So it's
Mm,
been a question to myself, like, why am I like that? What do I have to learn with this hair? Why is
yeah.
it so difficult? Right. And now I just relax the hair because I have a kind of deformed head from birth. And my skull really is really soft and it really hurts. So
Mm,
when it's not relaxed, so my hair and the things that people tell you along your life, like my mom,
Mm.
you have the worst hair, you're like your
oh,
grandmother, you have the worst hair in the family, and I cannot comb. I cannot do anything. And it hurts so much to comb and to try to do something. And every day is that routine that is so excruciating to me that I've always had those questions. And then I had to relax it now to treat because I've been with braiding for a long time. And then so I can feel my scalp, so I can treat it, so I don't have that pain.
Mm.
So there is so
yeah.
much behind that people don't know, and all the questions, right, that people ask you. Well, how many hours were you sitting there? You know, that if I work differently, you would not be asking me how many hours I were there. It doesn't make
Right.
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 That's right.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is a power. It's powerful what you're saying, because the fact that we can explore all of these different ways to interact with our hair, with ourselves through our hair, whatever the treatment is, whether it's color, like how people go through change with an extreme colorization of their hair, or chopping the hair off, or getting a perm to make it curly when it was straight, or straight when it was curly. Like, this is all an opportunity for us to explore our own, not only self-expression, but identity. Was I
Mhm.
locked in a box before because of how people saw me with that other look? Does this free me to now express and be a different version of myself,
Mhm.
or my more natural self? I mean, I think it's unique for each of us. Yeah. Like how that all
Every
unfolds. And
season.
that's so exciting.
Right. Right. That indicates change, right? That's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, what's happening now? And sometimes like I make changes where I don't want to be seen. Like I'll wear things
Mm,
that are big, or I'll like grab a hat and have it come over. And like sometimes I'll be expressing myself, but I don't want to be noticed in the same
Right.
way. Like it can be an expression, or it can be and almost a withdrawal, or a more inner, quieter presentation.
That actually you're able to do that. You're able to get away with that. Like, I'm like, that is so the opposite of my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's just me sort of like being more uh withheld, withdrawn, reserved. I feel like sometimes when I'm wearing, like, there's this one big double fleece shirt that I use as a coat, and it's gray. It's like brown gray. It is not the most attractive thing, but I'll wear it when I want the most comfort and like I feel like I can swim in it. I don't know what other people think about it. I don't really get that, but there's not a lot of attention being paid when I'm wearing that shirt.
For me,
Right.
Wendy, yeah, for me, I am very much concerned about what people are gonna think. And I have to have good hair to go outside, because sometimes I even think, oh my God, if a police officer stops me, I look awful. He's gonna think I'm a drunk, I'm this. They are gonna judge me based on my hair. So, and my hair has to be fine and beautiful. And sometimes it's very interesting because the way I see my hair is the way I observe people by their hair. Like, why she hasn't done her hair? This is a very important meeting, and she not even combed her hair. So I am always thinking about hair. Hair is a big thing to me, you know.
Jessica, welcome. Hi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am
Right?
not gonna
Speaking of
lie, as
hair.
I hear you guys talking about it, I'm like, well, so here's the funny thing is, with my hair, I was born like completely white, straight hair. It was like darn near iridescent. And my brother was the same way. We just were like very blah. And I remember being little and I would pray. And I remember my grandmother yelling at me for this, but I would pray that I would get her hair, because she had like this beautiful auburn hair and it was so curly. And she had like the whole 60s thing going of it, like totally perfect.
Oh.
And she would, yeah. And so as I got older and my hair started changing, I was like, oh my God, God does answer prayers. And so then what's funny is, like, to me, like, I leave it. Like, well, okay, so I bleach my bangs because I think this is fun. And you can't tell on camera because there's like a ton of white in here. But the nice thing is it just looks like blonde highlights. But what's funny about all this is when my hair was going through its transition of going to curl, needless to say, you could imagine the funk that came out of that. And as it was like getting darker and turning to this, whatever it is now, kind of copper auburn color, I had to go to her and be like, well, because I was like, my hair is bad. It was like napping because I didn't know how to do it. My hair had always been straight. And so she taught me about oil treatments and hot rollers. But she was also like, this is how you show up in the world. And it was a big deal. She was like, as a woman, you do not, and I live with my grandmother, so I mean, just with some context around it, she was like the female influence in my life. And she would like give me these lectures about how I left the house. And she was very much like, you had to be put together, you always wear nylons. And now here I am like, God, did I get dressed today? It's close enough. And it's so funny because but like with my hair and makeup and all this stuff, I show up with what the audience is expecting. Except here, you guys literally get me like, hey, here's my coffee and I'm comfortable. To Wendy's point, I'm wearing linen and silk today and I'm feeling it. But the hair thing is so funny because now it's my signature. Not only do people get it as I'm sure you guys have already talked about, which I think is weird. They'll be like, "Oh, I love your hair." I'm like, "Whoa, you don't need to touch me." um, but it's become my signature, and people like will make comments about it. If my hair's up, they'll say, "Oh, I didn't recognize you." I'm like, "Well, I'm on stage today in order to get that mic thing done without getting stuck somewhere. This is what's
Right.
happening." Like, it will get lost in this nest and we will never find your mic again. So, it's kind of funny because I think it's like this, to your guys' point, the energy of what I'm dishing out at that time, right? And it's a mindset. It's, am I showing up in a suit, right? Which I've done, conservative outfits on stages, or am I at, like, I think when I met you, Wendy, I was pretty like normal, meaning for me, like, I think I can't remember if my hair was up. I don't know, but I'm farming it, so this is what happens. But I always wear dresses and skirts, and my hair just kind of is what it is. But the funny thing is people think it's amazing. And I'm like, that's great, because this is it. I get it cut like once a year. So maybe. So, but the energy involved in it is huge, right? Like, it's how people perceive you.
And intentionality, yes, intentionality. Because when I go to fairs, when I'm reading my cards, I have my beautiful braids and big and beautiful, and I do the makeup and I put my hair. It makes such a big difference. People walk by my table. Wow, I felt your energy. Wow, you look amazing. Oh, it's so powerful. It makes a difference the way you get out there,
Yeah.
You do show up like a boss. I remember the first time I saw you, I was like, damn.
I just remember the voltage of you, Raquel, like the voltage of the yellow and orange, like explosion. That I'm like, that's all I can see is yellow and orange, and beautiful lady, yellow and orange everywhere.
It's
beaming.
so fun. Yeah. People say, I was the other day, and two people came to my table. They were vendors too. And they said, my God, when you walked by us, that energy was, and I could feel it. And I had to come here and talk to you about it.
Well, and
that's awesome.
Don't you think it has something to do with your body language? Because you also, when you show up, you are solid.
Yes.
You're completely straight. Your posture is in such a way you don't hold your head like high, but you hold your head high. Like, you are like authority when you show up.
And my vibration, thank you. And my vibration, because when I go to these places, I am extremely happy, very, very happy, and wanting to help people. And my guides, I know they are with me, and I smile at everybody. So it's a load of energy.
Yeah.
Isn't that, I've been contemplating about that so much. That's the secret weapon, is doing what you love. And I'm not necessarily talking about in like the big sense, but in looking at people across a wide variety of careers and occupations, vocations, it seems like the people who discover what is their love language for life. And I'm not talking about the book, the 5 Love Languages, although a very good book. But I mean, there are people who express their love and receive love by cooking for their family. Like, they just get to pour all that love into that meal that they're preparing for their family. And when their family enjoys that meal, they experience love being returned to them. There are people who are like the real estate agents that are like, just have a gift for finding people their right home. And they shower the world with love by finding those homes for people. And when they see their families getting settled and growing through the years and whatnot, they feel that experience of love coming back to them. Like, when we find that expression of love, like what you're describing, Raquel, of doing these readings, like, that is everything. That is so empowering from your core, because your soul is awake and alive and happy. Right?
Yes. As we talked a while ago, the purpose, when you find your purpose, because my purpose One of them is to teach. It's my mission. It's a different kind of energy, very good too. And when I found this spiritual purpose, it is something amazing, and I can shift. I can play with those energies, and it's amazing. Yes, the purpose makes a big difference in our life, especially when we do something with love and helping. That's that workshop. What do you do? That you make money and you help people and you get home and you are extremely satisfied with. So those are two things that I'm extremely satisfied with.
That is awesome.
Brought up a really good point of like the different hats, right? And I think that when we are showing up, often the transition we see newer adults go through, or people just in life stages, is they think they have to keep showing up one way. And that is not human. We are way more complex than that. It's okay to have a dozen hats or half a dozen. Maybe you have one. Who knows, right? It's all in your chart. But the reality is like you could have a lot of different, because it is that perception. It's that mindset. It's that experience that not only you're having, but that you're inviting others to have with you. And so I think it's a good point that, you know, when you teach, when you read, when you're doing these different things, you show up different. Because I am the same way. Like I am completely, I'm very, very intense if you're working directly with me on my businesses. Wendy can attest for that.
Which is awesome. Like, which is, I've had the experience of the reverse. Yeah. Yeah, whatever, do that. Yeah. Fine.
And I think she was my neighbor once, but it was one of the best pairs because I had so much fun with Jessica. We talked so much, her energy. It was so good to have her as a neighbor. And we were so active and talking. I was like, clients, don't come. We are talking now.
We are so busy talking about our babies. It's funny, but I think it's something that people evolve into and with, right? And then they're able to, as they experience life, have these experiences and finding that spot that's joyful for them so that they can continue to lean into that. And just every time it kind of something is enjoyable, like you go to an event or you go out with friends or a new job or school, whatever it is, you're going into that experience and allowing what feels right for you to unfold in, so that way you can really have that experience. And that tells you something about yourself, right? It tells you a different layer, a different depth, and allowing that energy to flow, I think is really important instead of standing back, because people, like a lot of people now have social anxiety, right? And it's like, I get it. I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere and it's a freaking culture shock to go to the market. I'm like, oh, there's 20 people in the store. Oh, I just gotta, okay, don't talk to me. I'm trying to buy something. But it's funny because, you know, it's a variety of reasons why people have this. But what are some things that you guys would suggest for people to show up, like appearance wise, how they present themselves, like what construct should they have in their mind so that they can engage with other human beings in a way that's safe for them so that they're not anxious?
I think you talk about something very interesting about many hats. I think it's also okay to drop hats. I think it's very important to know yourself and to get better each time. And I feel very fortunate to play with my energies because, for example, going to work, I work from home, going to the college for a meeting and staying there it gives me social anxiety. My body changes and I don't want to be there because of the energy that I can feel. But the energy, like your energy, I don't know CocoKali, but might be amazing. But I remember Wendy at the fair. I didn't know her, but she had so much love and affection.
Mhm.
She was like, "Hi, girl," and she would talk to me, and I said, "I love walking by that table with that lady. She's so sweet, and I love talking to her and saying hi because she always says hi, and she's so sweet." So I think sometimes we are not aware of the energy that we are uh, putting out. But I think being aware, having feedback or feeling or getting better at this is very important.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
It's also I will just tag on to that with the idea of what constructs help us. Like, I would say, what constructs block us from being ourselves? Like, the idea is to rediscover what is our natural, essential, soulful self. What does that look like? And so, is there a tool that frees us to be more of ourselves? Or are there blocks that we need to eliminate to free us to be more of ourselves? Like, isn't that the ultimate? Is to just show up in any situation, free to be you and not worry about what are other people thinking, what is going on. Like, trusting yourself to be appropriate for the situation, whether it's a
Mm.
professional situation, academic situation, supermarket, romance, date, like whatever it is. Like, trust yourself to show up. But if you can just be yourself, your radiance will come through, your power will come through, your essence that people are dynamically, irresistibly attracted to will come through. And that we don't need to, I don't know, we started off talking about hair. Is it that I need to manipulate my hair a certain way to create that? Or is it that that hairstyle just frees me to emanate that?
Mhm. What's the underlying energy or push or motivation
Yeah.
to present? Yeah. I had one. I'm in a place where I'm kind of between chapters, but I'm in the middle of chapters as well. So I was thinking this
You're
morning,
like a
like,
library.
a little bit,
Yeah.
like beginning, middles, and ends are happening all the time, all the time. And what helps me is this question, and it really has to do with, is this a good use of my time right
Mm,
now? Is this a good use of my time right now? Like, I have been in a place where I've I've been in a job that was full time, and it was not a good fit at the time, but it was a good use of my time for that time. I learned a lot. I established some boundaries. Turns out I understand what not a good fit means in a couple ways. Not a good fit. Oh, that's not a good fit. I know what that is. So, is this a good use of my time? Is something that really helps me not judge what I'm doing, but
mm,
allows me to be in acceptance for where I am at the moment. I feel a lot of compassion for people who just absolutely hate what it is they're showing up for on an 8 to 10 to 12-hour basis on a daily basis, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever, how many. Because
Soul crusher.
it's completely soul crusher. Nailed it, said it, nailed it. And so, is this a good use of my time for today or for right now? I'm in a part-time gig right now that is a good use of my time. It is a good use of my time, and I can be content with that, which is not, I don't feel drained by that. Like, how can
mm,
I talk to myself, speak to myself in a way that I'm not draining what it is I need to do just for today?
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wendy, how do you relate that to, many of us show up thinking, but I have to do this because I have responsibilities, I have a
Mhm.
mortgage, I have a
Yeah.
family to take care of. And so, as we're talking about, our relationship with our parents and how that like transitions into our actions, like how does that tie together for you with the person you have thought in the past you should be or need it to be? to bring
Mhm.
all that together versus how you're allowing yourself to be now and witnessing how it all comes together.
I get to discern and choose whether or not it was a good use of my time to get to where I am right now. I
Mm.
had plenty of not a good fit in order to understand, and I got to learn the hard way in a couple of times. Like, do I regret that? No. Was it excruciating? Completely. And I hope I'm answering your question because it really took what I went through to get me right here.
Mm.
To understand, like, okay, am I like, in some exotic bliss out moment state every day? No. Turns out I have range. I have, like, not just the extremes of not a good fit, absolutely not soul crusher, to like blissed out, super happy, almost high. There's a whole lot of gray area in between those two things. So experiencing kind of all the slices or all the possibilities, sometimes in rapid succession, sometimes all at once. Like, that's the human experience.
Well, I think that's so true, because we see people like going through, like, it is rare, but some people at a very young age are like, this is me. Boom. They've got their education figured out, their career, their partners, their friends, like they have everything figured out. And when I say it's rare, I've seen, like, maybe a handful of people like this. And I'm like, I look at their chart and I'm like, yeah, this is it. You're right. Congratulations. Yeah. But for the majority of us, that is not the case. Yeah. And we have to go through those human experiences that help us create this idea, right? You go through lots of careers, you go through lots of degrees. I was talking to someone last night and they were like, well, I thought you were getting one PhD. And I'm like, no, 2 will be done this year and another 2 will be done next year. And they're like, what the? I'm like, I couldn't decide. Okay. I realized that I'm kind of old for that. But I was like, well, I would like to know that. Yes, let's do a research project on that. But you don't have, like you're saying, you don't have to not do it. I mean, I've had plenty of careers or JOBs or businesses that I was like, this is not what I thought. And to your point, like, one of them was an espresso stand, my first one. And I'm like, this is going to be great. I love coffee. Why not? And turns out it was super boring. I hated it. I was bored and I was like, that's it. Like, there's nothing cool to do. There's no, like, do you guys want to start a chain? Like, come on, let's complicate this. And so it's kind of funny because it is like, I wouldn't have known that. I was so bored. I was like, so just someone and sell it. Just sell it off. I don't want it. It's boring. But as you continue to evolve, it is like all those books. You do have this book of stuff you're working on, this book of stuff with intimate relationships, this book of stuff of careers and friends, and like all these different pieces, because we're so complex. It's the beauty of being human. And as you have these experiences, they keep piling, and then you do come to a place where you're like, this is just who I am. That's why you get us when we're older and we're like, no, I'm not doing that. And people are like, well, someone told me yesterday, they're like, well, you have to go to the wedding. It's the right thing to do. And I'm like, no, that's your construct. I'm not going. Like, don't care.
Right.
I'm like, good on them.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting as everybody's speaking. I keep remembering all the topics we discussed here. I think we have different journeys. And I feel that I earned this moment here because I've been through a lot. We have seasons of life. I could never be like talking like that, like 20, 15 years ago, because I had so much I had to accomplish. But I got to that point, what I'm not sorry for, that we discussed. So this is me, and I'm not sorry for this, and I'm not sorry for that. So And you're right. There are some young people, they figured it out, and that's their journey. They don't have much, but I had a lot I had to do, lots of karma to burn. So I
Yeah.
could be at these phase. And for most of us, it happens when we are getting older because we are wiser. We lived, as Wendy said, all those experiences made me who I am today and gave me the knowledge that I have today. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I think when we're
Agreed.
looking at like the younger folks or anyone in this space where they're trying to figure out, with that social anxiety, especially post COVID. that wasn't a thing before. I was starting to rumble, but post COVID, it was real. Where I was like, oh, there's someone else besides the deer that comes by every morning. Okay. But it's funny because post COVID, a lot of people came out angry, and people don't talk about that. But the majority of the population, and there's statistics on it, I won't bore you with it, came out angry, and they were being mean to people, and they didn't have the social graces. Either they went away or they weren't taught because of the stage they were in their life, and so, or they just like seriously digressed. I'm like, I know you're 80, but still, you don't got to be like that. But I think that is kind of what added to the social anxiety, is finding out and discovering, like, we were really looking at each other during that time. Everyone was on social media. Everyone was very raw. And you saw a lot of negativity. You saw a lot of people in pain. You saw a lot of people that were just miserable. And they started treating each other in these manners that made it intense to try to communicate and engage face to face. And it is, like you guys have said, it's how you're showing up in your appearance, your body language, your attire, the words you use, the energy you're projecting. Like, all those things lead into that, and how people are perceiving you. And so I think if you're going through that challenge of, in XYZ situation, how do I show up? You first look in and go, how do I want to be remembered? How do I want people to engage with me? And then think that through of how you're going to interact, how you're going to show up visually, because the eyes tell so much, right? And so in 3 seconds, someone is going to figure that out. And by 7 seconds, they've already got a whole calibration and story in their mind about you. God forbid they're rude and scan you. That's another story. But I'm like, oh, we're never talking again. You just scanned me without asking. But you know what I'm talking
invasive.
about, ladies. Yes, exactly. I'm like, no. But you really have to think it through. Don't just jump into situations. That's where the anxiety comes. It's having some type of a plan that's not concrete. It's agile, it's gray, it's fluid, whatever you want to call it, because you don't know every situation. I think you get that a lot when you travel internationally, right? You don't know what you're walking into. Each village, each town, whatever, has a different behavior that you need to adapt to, each country, whatever, and their normalities for their culture. And you learn that a lot there. And so it's like, yes, I'm going to show up this way, but how are you going to like engage, and what will you do when things are uncomfortable? Like, thinking those things through, I think actually relieves a lot of the anxiety, because you feel more confident and comfortable. Oh, and we lost CocoKali.
Oh, rats.
Internet.
Yeah. Well, and there's that whole, I guess, somebody I know who's close to me just says, like, who do I want to be in this world? Like, that's it. What anybody else says, what anybody else perceives, how, like, it's unfortunate we can't control that, but none of what anybody else is thinking or feeling is actually about us. This is so opposite or backwards to what we're taught, just based on, like, the talks, Jessica, that you received from your grandmother about like, no, here's how you leave the house, and lots of families who are just really needing to have conversations about safety in order to leave the house. It we can't control what other people think or feel. Like, we can keep ourselves as safe as we can and show up. And if some days, if you can't do that, don't go out. Like, okay, yeah, like
Yes.
your safety is first, and that is based on your inner compass, what you're really relating to. Beyond that, what I would suggest is like the tiniest of safest ways to expand your world a little bit, even if that means like, I'm stepping outside the front door. No, it's going to be the back door today. Forget it. I'm not leaving the front door. If I need fresh air, I'm going out the back door. Like, I do that in the building that I live in. I'm like, am I going out through the lobby, or am I going out through receiving? I'm like, more often than not, especially when I have a dog, it's out through receiving, because I really don't want the lobby hustle. That's a no. Yeah. So just like having those things, what your understanding of yourself is and what you're available for. Sometimes that means, oh, I'm going to look, at the left side of the street as I'm out walking versus the right, or I'm going to go down a block I've never been down before, or I'm going 3 steps down a block I've never been before, and then I'm out. It's open, it's bigger. Do I get to count that? Yes. Do I always count that? I'm not a machine. No.
Yeah, self-awareness, because I think all the good we do, people can forget very quickly. If you do one bad thing, if you show up in your bad moment, worst moment, they're going to remember that forever. So sometimes I avoid. Today, I'm not going to go out. I'm going to stay here because I don't want to share this energy. I'm not okay. So it's better not to be there. Like, I don't want to go to the wedding. So I'm not
right. Yeah. Wedding is no. Yeah.
And that, but you figure those things out by having those small experiences. I love that you said that, because other people's perception of you is theirs. It's not you. That's them. Right. And so sometimes, and you see this a lot, especially in the corporate environments, where people show up kind, and so they get steamrolled. And it's like, that's sad. You're a good person. Like, you're very intelligent. But since no one was kind enough and patient enough and polite enough to let you speak, now they have a perception of you. And really, the reality is that's the perception they created of you. It's not who you are. You are the only being that knows who you are. And that's honestly after you figure it out, because you got to figure that out first, right?
Unless which, God freaking bless. Goddess bless. All the entities, bless you. Because that was not my experience. I admire that.
Right? Seriously, a handful of people, that's it. But I think that you guys are right. This was like really great. I think it's so needed to have these kinds of conversations. I see, especially right now, working with newer adults, it is often that I see situations where they have social anxiety because they're comparing, and they're creating these like constructs for themselves that I'm like, why do you got to be so perfect? Like, what happened? We have labels for those types of behaviors. It's okay, to not be perfect. But they go through a lot of psychological pieces that you guys have covered, right? And I just love that. And I thank you for showing up and being able to share that, because I think it's important to have those conversations. And I love that we all love our hair.
However it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We are happy to address any questions you have. Or if you just want to share your story of what this was like for you, here for it. Bye.